guys, WWE Fan Talk Show, bringing you guys another Ringside Collectibles unboxing today. We have the AEW edition, we have the Unmatched line, the brand new line. In this box right here, all 6 figures. But first I want to promote all 4 of these new wrestling buddies. There will be a separate video on them, but stay tuned, just letting you guys know that these things are freaking awesome. And if you have kids or if you just want to cuddle a pillow or whatever, and your favorite wrestler is Kenny Omega, there you go. You punch them, they make noise. We'll get into further depth on it on the actual video, but just throwing that out there. These are available at Ringside Collectibles using discount code Tanner to save 10% at checkout. Alrighty guys, so we have the brand new Unrivaled line in here. All I got is my keys right now. My knife is upstairs, so we're going to slice this box open. I honestly had no idea what was in this box at first, until I opened it, and I saw, who's this, Santana and Ortiz? No way. It's the new Unmatched line. Super sick. This is Series 2, so we got the first series. It had Kenny Omega, and I need to go back and look who else was in it. Alrighty, so here is Series 1 of the Unmatched line. We had the Miro, the Britt Baker, the Darby Allin, the Kenny Omega, Dustin Rhodes, and the LJN Cody Rhodes. I couldn't remember at the time, but here's the lineup for Series 1. We do have the new Santana right there. We also have his tag team partner Ortiz, which looks like an awesome figure. And then we have MJF, another MJF. I believe this is the third regular MJF we are getting. We also got the first ever Wardlow, which is so sick. You can complete a variation of the Inner Circle now with all those members. And then we have one of my favorite women's wrestlers in AEW. We have Tay Conti. Is it Tay Conti? Tay Conti? Conti? What was it in WWE? Wasn't it Tay Conti in WWE? Didn't they change it? I'm not quite sure. But there's Tay Conti right there. Looking super sick. And then the one everybody's going to buy. We have the first ever Sting. This is so sick. We got the very reflective packaging with the blue. We're going to get a more in-depth look with it. This is something I would want to keep on card, but unfortunately we have to get it unboxed today and have a closer look. The figure is more important than the packaging. So, we got all 6 figures right here. Let's crack them open right here, right now. Alrighty, so we're starting things off with the figure everybody wants to take a closer look at. We have this Sting, and this Sting has some awesome looking packaging. I believe this is when he returned last year at Winter is Coming. And that's probably why it has all the nice blue going throughout. But we haven't seen too much from Sting in the year that he's debuted. I would like to see him in a World Championship match. I know that he's older, but it would still be cool to see him in a World Championship match. Maybe against Hangman Page, have Sting turn heel. I don't know. I've always been a big fan of Sting. But we got that awesome blue reflective packaging. It also has it right there. So we're going to get this cracked open right now. This is the only one I will be opening on camera. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to ruin the packaging. Because while I am somewhat a mock collector, I don't collect too many mock AEW figures. I do mostly the WWE ones. Alright, so we got the packaging right there. How unfortunate was that to have to rip it out. You can see me struggling right there to get the figure out. Okay. I want to see how this one measures up to the WWE one with Sting. So, I gotta admit, we've seen more action from Sting in AEW than we've seen in WWE. So taking a closer look at Sting, I'm not sure how great it looks on camera right now, but we're just gonna wing it. But just taking a first glance, from my point of view, this is a much better looking figure than the one that we've seen from WWE. All you need to do to take the coat off is put his arms back and maybe take the hands off. I'm not going to, but you totally could. But there we have Sting right there. He does have sleeves because it is a long sleeve shirt. And all you need to do is pop the waist off and slide the plastic off and then pop it back on. It is a different joint because it is the t-shirt, so it's like a swivel rather than a ball, but you can pop it off. Even though it is a ball, it's more of a swivel. And then again, you do get the ball. But it's pretty much the same exact articulation. You just get that brand new Sting shirt on there. And then you get the pants, which do look really nice. I would like the Unrivaled line or the Unmatched line to come out with a Sting that's like more of like a classic Sting. If they do have the rights to Sting, they should definitely do one with the singlet and all that. But the boots look great. It has the Sting logos on the side. You got the baseball pants or the padded pants. What did I call them? Baseball pants. But super cool. You even got the nice gloves, and the Sting face paint looks great as well. We also get the rubber jacket with all the great detail coming throughout, as well as the scorpion on the back. And then he does come with a baseball bat, and he does come with 2 fisted hands, which is always nice. Alrighty guys, that is the Sting right there, special edition, actually unboxed on camera. Now let's crack open one of the other figures in the line. Alrighty, so taking a closer look at the tag team of Santana and Ortiz right here. Right here we have Santana. So right here we have Santana looking very nice. I'm not sure if this is the same body mold. I think it is the same body mold, but as you can see, brand new face sculpt. We got the curly head with the bandana. This time no eye patch. I would get the cool tattoos and a brand new elbow pad on the side. I think that's a new sculpted elbow pad. You also get the fisted version of the Puerto Rican flag right there. And something awesome is that I didn't expect this figure to have multiple colors on it, because the last ones we got were kind of basic with the colors. Like we got, I think it was just black pants and gold or something like that. But now we get camo, orange, and then gold on the wrestling shoes. And the cake pads are just black, but it looks really cool. I'm digging this Santana right here. Definitely an up from the last one we got. So I would recommend this figure 100%. And then this one may be a little bit cooler just because Ortiz looks a little bit more crazy. Look at that head sculpt. He looks insane. And then I like these hands right here. It's like crazy hands. I'm going to call them crazy hands because he looks like insane. You have his dreads coming throughout his locks. And then you have his cargo pants with camo. And then you also have his orange wrestling boots, which I think those are new sculpted boots. And then as for the articulation, these legs move around pretty good for... I think they're pretty brand new legs. And then I think you can pop the overalls off and then do what you do here and kind of put them down by his waist. But they're just up here, and they look really cool. And you also get interchangeable hands and head sculpt. So you have the screaming one and the regular one, which looks nice. And then you also get a different head sculpt for Santana with a screaming head sculpt, which is nice. And then you get interchangeable hands. You got the gloved hands looking very nice with the orange. I like the detail. And then you have these for, I believe this is for Santana. You have like the trigger looking fingers. So gun, trigger, whatever. So there we have Santana and Ortiz looking freaking awesome. These guys may top like first place. I don't know. I like the detail on these figures. Let's take a look at the next figure. Next up we have MJF. This is a badass looking MJF. Although I'm not the biggest fan of MJF, I think that they nailed this figure 100%, and I think this looks just like him. His ears look a little big, I'll give it that, but that's my only complaint. We also got that nice design. This is something I hate about MJF's gear, is that he has this ugly color with like the tan, and then he wears it with like red and black. It don't look that great. This is better than you on the back. This is a rubber coat. Something about the rubber coats is that it's cool always getting the cloth ones, but the cloth ones don't always give the best detail. So sometimes it's better to get the rubber ones. So popping off the coat, here we have this MJF looking very, very neat, just like MJF. I'm not sure if this is when he was in the inner circle, but we get the nice red designs coming on the sides, kind of like Randy Orton. And then it says MJF on the butt. We get the cool elbow pad right there. I'm not quite sure if you can see that. But physique-wise, this looks pretty much just like MJF, and I think they nailed it pretty well. We also got the knee pads and the nice smirking head sculpt. Something I'm going to give Jazzwares is that I can tell as the series goes on with the Unmatched and the Unrivaled, the figures feel more, less cheap, if that makes any sense. Like, it doesn't feel like they could just, like, fall apart. Like, yes, you can pull it apart like that, but that's just a cool feature they add. But the plastic just feels more durable, and it just looks like a lot better quality. But MJF does come with his diamond ring right there, with the rings, fist, and the open hand with the to hold the mic. So you can hold the AEW mic in the hand right there. Very, very nice. There is the MJF. I definitely recommend this dude. He may top first place. You're just gonna have to wait to see for the end of the video. The next figure in the Series 2 Unmatched line, we have Wardlow, and this figure looks freaking jacked, and it looks just like him likeness-wise, and the physique looks just like Wardlow. Pretty badass looking dude. We got the screaming head sculpt, looks really great. We get the black singlet with the green designs. And these are newer knee pads, I believe. Or, yeah, they're pretty new. They look realistic, too. The boots are great. I think those are the same ones that we got for MJF. No, they're different. Maybe they're made specifically for Wardlow. Props to you, Jazzwares. So we got a different head sculpt as well. We got the screaming one and you got the regular one. I like the screaming one. It's more intimidating and it looks a lot cooler than just this. But if MJF is giving a promo and Wardlow's right there, then that makes sense. I think Wardlow would just thrive on his own if he turned on MJF, which I think should happen eventually. I don't think he should be in a team. I think he should just be Wardlow. I could totally see him as TNT champion as well. So, I don't know. Wardlow's a pretty badass dude. I would definitely recommend in the future AEW pushing this dude to the top because I think Wardlow is a badass. So, there's Wardlow right there. One of the coolest figures yet in the set. I don't know. These figures, like as I keep reviewing them, I like them more and more and more better than the previous one. So we're just going to have to see how they rank at the end of the video. Alrighty, next up we have the Tay Conti. And after looking at this figure for a while, I got to say that this is the best women's figure yet. Like, I thought the Britt Baker was good, and it was. But the Tay Conti is a lot more accurate, in my opinion. You got the fishnet stockings. You get that very bright looking green on her gear. Everything looks so accurate, and the head sculpt looks great. You got the fade in there, and the head sculpt, it looks just like her. That's crazy. The kick pads look nice. We even got a little bit of ankle pivot in there. Great articulation. The figure does not feel cheap like the Mattel one. Like, not that Mattel's bad, but like sometimes the women's figures just don't feel the greatest. This feels like a good women's figure. Everything from the back to the front, everything looks great. This is the last figure in the set, and I think every figure for the most part came with a different head sculpt. No, 4 figures in the set. So the Santana and Ortiz, the Wardlow, and the Tay Conti came with 2 head sculpts, which is always cool. Let's pop this one on. This is a regular one, which also looks just like her. I like the first one though. I think the first one looks a lot more like Tay Conti. So let's pop it back on. I'm gonna have to take some time to really decide which figure is my favorite in the set, because every single one of these is great. So, yeah. I'll come back to you with my top 6. So, from least to greatest, if that makes any sense. Right now. Let's do it. Alright, the decision has been made. I know which figure is my favorite in the set. But let's start with my least favorite, starting with MJF. MJF is not a bad figure at all. This is actually one I considered maybe the best figure in the set for a moment, but then after looking at further details on the figures and quality, I just found that this one just was the least best, even though I think it's a fantastic figure. I'm not even the greatest fan of MJF, but I have been enjoying his feud with CM Punk, so that makes me like this figure even more. So, really cool MJF right here, and I definitely recommend picking it up. It's not a bad figure at all. If you're an MJF fan, get it. Very cool. Next up on the list, we do have Santana. I think that the Santana is very badass, and you might be asking, why Santana placed ahead of MJF? And that's because there's so much great detail in this figure. There's the orange, there's the camel, there's the black, there's the little gold. Just everything about this figure is fantastic. Maybe the only thing it could change is the way that the systemic tone of skin looks different from his upper body, which it doesn't really even bother me. I just know that people are going to complain about it. But we got great accessories with this figure, and it's really badass. Now, you're probably wondering which figure is next, and we got his tag team partner right here, Ortiz. I think the Ortiz was a little bit better, just a little bit better than the Santana because of how crazy this dude looks. I like the hands, I like the tats. I think that this is the most improved out of the two compared to their previous counterparts. I think that the previous Ortiz wasn't the greatest just because he had the t-shirt, but now he has a singlet and he has the overalls and 2 different head sculpts. It just looks like a lot cooler of a figure. So, very cool Ortiz. Next up, this one's going to surprise everybody. Sting. Yes, that's right. Sting did not make first place. I love Sting. I really do, and I was really highly anticipating this figure, but now that I have it in hand, it's not the greatest in the set. It looks great. I love it, but I'm not feeling it 100% like I thought it was. I feel like the legs may be a little short. Maybe it's the t-shirt. The head sculpt looks so realistic, and the boots look great. There's nothing bad about this figure at all. It's just I found that the next two figures were just a little bit better in my opinion. So there's the Sting. He comes with the baseball bat, interchangeable hands, the coat. If I had to pick one out of this set, I would probably get the Sting just because it's Sting. But just quality-wise, he makes third place. Moving on to the next figure, we have the Tay Conti, and this is the highest ranked women's figure I've ever put, or the highest I've ever put a women's figure in my top list, just because usually they're not the greatest. This Tay Conti figure blew me out of the water. I love the detail. I've always been a fan of Tay Conti. I saw her at an NXT live event about like 3 or 4 years ago. When she was first starting out in NXT, and she did fantastic, and I've been a fan ever since, and now she's in AEW, thriving. So there's Tay Conti. Great detail. I love the green on the figure. Everything's great. That leaves Wardlow in first place. That's because this dude, it looks like freaking badass. Like, look at this dude. Look at that. Wouldn't you be scared if this dude was, like, way bigger, like life size, screaming at you like that? I'm not even the biggest fan of Wardlow, but I think that this dude has a lot of potential, and the figure is even more badass than I thought it was going to be. I wasn't even really anticipating this figure, and now that it's one of those figures that you weren't anticipating, and then you got it, and then it's like just so happened to be like the coolest figure in the set. So now that I have this figure, it's going to make me want to watch Wardlow a little bit more on AEW television. So props to Jazzwares for making such a badass Wardlow. This is epic, very epic. And something that impressed me too is that they made specific boots. Like with Mattel sometimes, I'm not putting Mattel down. I still like Mattel probably more than Jazzwares just because I have so many more figures from them. But the thing that is better about Jazzwares is that they're focusing on the little details. Like his boots. Like his boots are different. His boots are different than MJF or any other figure. It's not like Mattel where it's like a mold and they use that for every single person that wears boots. This is specific to Wardlow. Anyways, guys, that is my video review on the Unmatched Series 2. I definitely recommend every single one of these figures. 10 out of 10. Great set. I love this thing. I love the Tay Conti. I love Santana Ortiz, MJF, Wardlow. They're all fantastic. Use discount code Tanner at Ringside Collectibles. Pick them up today. WWE Fan Talk Show.